The Central Council for the Palestine Liberation Organization suspends security coordination with Israel. The European Union Foreign Policy Chief says the EU remains united in its position on sanctions against Russia. Hello and welcome. His Highness Emir Sheikh Sabah Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah sent today a cable of congratulations to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, John Dramani Mahama, on the occasion of his country's National Day. His Highness the Crown Prince Sheikh Nawaf Al-Ahmad Al-Jaber Al-Sabah also sent a cable of congratulations to His Excellency, the President of the Republic of Ghana, on the occasion of his country's National Day. His Highness Sheikh Jaber Al-Mbarak Al-Hamad Al-Sabah, the Prime Minister, also sent a similar cable of congratulations. Kuwait's permanent delegate to the UN and international organization headquarters, Ambassador Jamal Al-Ghnaim, said that the State of Kuwait supports UN human rights efforts around the globe. In a speech during the high-level meeting of the 28th session of the Human Rights Council in Geneva, Al-Ghnaim affirmed that Kuwait also supports the UN High Commissioner for Human Rights, Zaid Ra'ad Ibn Hussein, and his recent report that calls for real implementation of the human rights principles. The ambassador also commended the stance of the UN senior official on key issues including conflicts, disease, and security, noting that each issue must be dealt with through cooperation amongst world countries. Regarding Kuwait's stance on issues connected with human rights, Al-Ghnaim said that Kuwait's annual report to the Council back in January reflected its utter commitment to improve the status of human rights in the country. Kuwait Red Crescent Society continued its campaign to help Syrian refugees in Jordan with providing aid to some 250 families there. KRCS Deputy Board Chairman Anwar Al-Hassawi said that 3 more convoys of humanitarian aid, including food, blankets, and medical equipment, arrived in the Jordanian capital Amman and will be distributed in the coming days. He affirmed that the KRCS will continue its humanitarian mission in Jordan to alleviate the suffering of the Syrian refugees, which comes in line with Kuwaiti government and people's desires to aid their brothers. The Palestinian Liberation Organization's Central Council decided to suspend security coordination with Israel in light of its heightened violations and evasion of signed agreements and international law. From Ramallah, Fatima Abdul Karim has more.
The Palestine Liberation Organization's Central Council has voted on the suspension of security coordination with Israel last night following a 2-day meeting in Ramallah, giving power to the PLO's Executive Committee chaired by President Mahmoud Abbas to further discuss the implementation of this decision.
أعلى سلطة تتخذ قراراً واضحاً في عملية العلاقة مع حكومة الإحتلال.
The highest Palestinian legislative body decided on cutting ties with the occupation government, and this decision, which is effective since last night, will be implemented by the Executive Committee.
Palestinian faction leaders said the Central Council step comes in response to Israel's increased violations of the signed agreements and its actions aimed at weakening the Palestinian Authority, stating that they will work to pressure Israel to undertake its responsibilities as an occupying power.
The PCC is sending a message to the involved parties like Israel and the United States that the Palestinian Authority is no longer a real authority. So either you empower the Palestinian Authority or you get your responsibility here. It's a strong message from the Palestinians.
The new strategy will also include the support of the global boycott, sanctions and divestments campaign, the popular resistance and the international recognition campaign, in which Palestinians will seek to join international organizations and treaties. Stopping security coordination could be an explosive response for Israel's withholding of crucial PA funds. However, Palestinians say they expect to be met with yet another explosive reaction by Israeli authorities, possibly leading to the collapse of the Palestinian Authority. Fatma Abdel Karim, State of Kuwait Television, Ramallah, Palestine.
Thank you, Fatma. The military chief of al-Nusra Front militant group, along with 3 other leaders, were killed in an airstrike in Syria. Reports said the army had targeted Nusra leaders as they met in northern Idlib province. Al-Nusra was involved in a major attack on the Air Force intelligence headquarters in the embattled city of Aleppo on Wednesday. The Britain-based Syrian Observatory for Human Rights has confirmed the attack, saying many people were killed. However, there has been no word about al-Nusra's overall leader, Abu Muhammad al-Ghulani. The Pentagon denied that the U.S. or any of its allies had carried out airstrikes in the region in recent days. Turkey's Prime Minister Ahmed Davutoglu said in New York that the world never had a plan to end the intensifying Syrian conflict. He accused the Syrian government of increasing airstrikes on Aleppo, Syria's largest city, in recent days because the easing of international pressure as the world focuses on fighting the so-called Islamic State group. The UN Security Council is voting today on a draft resolution on the use of chemical weapons in Syria. The Council's president for March from France said the issue of the alleged use of chlorine in Syria has also been discussed. The UN Security Council adopted unanimously a resolution attending the mandate of the United Nations Support Mission in Libya until the end of this month. The resolution came after United Nations-backed talks between the 2 main factions in Libya were held in Morocco. Representatives of the rival parliaments, the Tripoli-based General National Congress, and the Tobruk-based House of Representatives spoke with the UN team separately. UN officials said that the hope was to get the 2 groups talking to each other directly over the next few days. It is the 4th round of talks and both sides have balked at meeting each other directly, but the UN is confident that those participating have a mandate to negotiate a new unity government, security arrangements, and to complete the constitutional process. Suspected Boko Haram militants killed at least 45 people in a village in Borno State, northeast Nigeria. The gunmen who stormed Nagaba targeted men and boys before setting the village on fire. Reports said the raid happened on Tuesday but was not reported immediately because of the remoteness of the area. Many survivors of the attack of Najaba fled to the nearby town of Damboa. EU Foreign Policy Chief Federica Mogherini today said that European Union would maintain a united stance on Russia sanctions over the Ukraine conflict, but the priority is to bolster a fragile ceasefire agreed in Minsk. She said that despite some signs of improvement on the ground, there was no question of the EU easing sanctions now. Her comments come amid continuing violence in Ukraine despite the ceasefire accord reached in Minsk last month, which calls for the withdrawal of heavy weapons from the front line. Mogherini stressed that EU efforts to bring peace to Ukraine should go together with long-term solutions to stabilize the country.
All the Ukrainians are very much aware of the fact that the humanitarian situation in the east is dramatic. Ukraine needs to move forward and is ready to move forward. And the European Union effort in that is, on one side, assisting the Ukrainian authorities, because we're doing that also when it comes to the reform of the security sector. We have a mission there from December 1st, so quite some months ago. But now we have to concentrate our efforts on making the Minsk agreement implemented. This is priority number one.
Greece Central Bank governor said today that the country's banks were in good health with guaranteed liquidity and deposits secure. He was addressing reporters in Athens following a meeting with the Greek Prime Minister, Finance Minister and other state officials. The governor briefed them on the European Central Bank meeting he attended in Cyprus on Thursday. He also stressed the importance for Greece of next week's meeting of Eurozone finance ministers set for Monday in Brussels. And finally tonight, the 12th Annual Gulf Heart Association and 4th Kuwait Cardiac Society Conference kicked off at the Regency Hotel. The conference is an annual event that brings together health practitioners and medical experts from around the globe. This year's conference has witnessed increased workshops and a full day that has been dedicated for pediatric cardiology colleagues. The conference is expected to span over a period of 4 days. More on the following with reporter Ghanwa Jabouri.
Under the auspices of His Highness the Emir of Kuwait, Sheikh Subah Al-Ahmed Al-Jaber Al-Subah, the 12th Annual Gulf Heart Association and the 4th Kuwait Cardiac Society Conference officially kicked off in the presence of His Excellency Health Minister Ali Al-Obaidi. The conference brings together medical experts and health organizations to discuss the latest news related to cardiology and treatments that can prevent heart attacks, strokes, and other issues related to health.
And Ali Abdul Wahab and all the companies under Ali Abdul Wahab, like Senfa, we normally bring in new brands and companies that supports the health in Kuwait. That's for this conference in specific. We have drugs for hypertension. Senfa is a Spanish company that is newly launched in Kuwait. So we have loved to highlight that brand, as well as all the other brands under AEW, similar to Biotronic, for example. All those are within the topic of the conference.
In his opening remarks during the opening ceremony, Health Minister Ali Al-Obaidi said that heart diseases are the primary cause of death in Kuwait, representing more than 40% of the total deaths annually.
It is a huge deal because this conference, the 12th Annual Gulf Heart Association Conference and the 4th Kuwait Cardiac Society, it happens once every 7 years. It rotates between the 7 countries of the GCC and Yemen. So the last time it was in Kuwait in 2007 and then 2022. So it's a big deal for us, and that's why we try to make it as big as we can. And so number one. Number two, we have attendees and lecturers, presenters from the Middle East, from Europe, from North America, Canada, the US, and it is a big deal. And of course, heart disease is a big deal. It's the #1 killer in our societies. We have lots of it. We see young patients with heart attacks, and we have a lot of reasons why these patients get heart attacks. So in that way, it's also a big deal. So we gather, we talk about it, we actually share our experiences. We share our experiences with our colleagues from the region, from North America and Canada and Europe, and we exchange ideas and ways to combat disease and do the work that we should do in a proper way.
The Health Minister added that the Ministry is proud of the great efforts exerted and achievements it made in cardiology healthcare, which are illustrated by figures and statistics published by the Ministry.
The 12th Annual Gulf Heart Association and the 4th Kuwait Cardiac Society Conference brings together the minds of medical experts under one roof. From the Regency Hotel, I'm Ghanwa Jabouri reporting to you for the English News.
under the
That was a dedication to the pediatric cardiology. For a chance to see our reports again, please visit our YouTube channel at MOI Kuwait News. Before we end, here's a quick reminder of today's headlines. The State of Kuwait reaffirms support to the UN human rights efforts around the globe. Kuwait Red Crescent Society provides aid to 250 Syrian families in Jordan. The Central Council for the Palestine Liberation Organization suspends security coordination with Israel. The European Union Foreign Policy Chief says the EU remains united in its position on sanctions against Russia.